Okay, so it is 7 p.m. I am going to call, we have a quorum. I'm going to call our Monday, March 22nd business meeting to order. If everyone could please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Okay, we're going to start with public comments. I have one. I do not believe we had any others. If I will publicly say that if I have forgotten to pull one out, and which I did check through my email again, but I apologize and please let me know and I will include it absolutely in the next meeting. This is from Brenda Wright and the Cornwall Central Teachers Association. Dear Superintendent Dade and President Bryan, we are writing this letter to express our support for Cornwall's efforts to have more students return to in-person learning more days each week. As many news headlines show, COVID-19 numbers seem to be dropping, and perhaps there is a light at the end of this pandemic tunnel. To this end, in recent discussions, we are hearing of the district's research to find desktop barriers for students' desks. We understand that this may be in connection with news reports and speculated Department of Health guidance that may be coming out to adjust the rules for social distancing in classrooms. As you both know, the current guidance stands that 6 feet of social distancing must be maintained in classrooms. Perhaps the introduction of new guidance from the Department of Health will change this and allow for more students in classrooms more days per week. Again, this is the ultimate goal for all of us, get our students back into the classrooms. To help you in your discussions and give you a sense of support, we offer these guidelines for you to consider. CCSD should provide access to vaccine clinics and shared links. CCSD has not shared links to available vaccine clinics for education staff in Orange County. We have been informed that vaccine sign-up links and lists for education staff in Orange County are available, but must be shared through official district channels. Please share these lists and links with all staff. This way, CCSD staff members who are interested in getting vaccinated can participate in the Orange County program. If allowed by the Department of Health, provide physical barriers for all people, adults, and children in our classrooms to help stop the spread of COVID-19. To ensure safety in the classrooms, please provide a steady and easily accessible supply of PPE, including masks and face shields when needed for all people in classrooms, adults, and children. Require building principals to constitute a health and safety committee in each school to monitor and react to issues that arise at the building level. This can help to formalize a channel for dealing with issues in each school in an efficient and effective manner. The goal is not just another meeting, but an active working group to solve issues at the school building level so we can maintain as much safety and instructional continuity as possible. Once again, thank you very much for considering these ideas. We believe that if we work together in transitioning our children back to the regular school week, whether that is sooner or later, we will develop a much more effective return to a normal school experience for our children and adults. Respectfully, the Cornwall Central Teachers Association. And I personally would like to thank CCTA for their support in our reopening. So thank you very much for your note tonight. And the next order of business is Giselle and Josh for our student representative report.
Okay, good news for Cornwall-on-Hudson Elementary School. COH hosted Seuss Week from March 1st to March 5th. Students participated in different themed days throughout the week. Students who were not in school also participated and sent pictures to our school email. The children enjoyed seeing each other and the staff dressed up. Kindergarten registration for siblings of COH was held on March 2nd. 14 students were registered. COH kindergarten registration for non-siblings is on March 23rd. We're looking forward to meeting members of the class of 2034. The PTO held a Zoom paint night on March 19th. Over 50 students participated. All had a good time and walked away with beautiful 8x10 canvas paintings. Mrs. Pinheiro, our school social worker, continues to host mindfulness Google meetings on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 2 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. She is also pushing into several classrooms while students are in school to deliver the mindfulness lessons. The students thoroughly enjoyed the break from regular academic activities. And finally, on March 18th, the music department launched the virtual fourth grade instrumental recital. This event was traditionally done one evening in March. Congratulations to all the students who participated. It takes great courage to play a solo, duet, or even a quartet. Thank you to Mr. Franza, Mrs. Subi, and Mrs. McCree for organizing this event for our students. Now, good news from Willow. Willow had an exciting month. We celebrated the 100th day of school with banners, music, 100-day glasses, and activities. We kicked off our school readathon with Dr. Seuss Week. Students dressed in themes based on the Dr. Seuss book of the day. March is also National Nutrition Month. PE and food services are teaming up for students to eat healthy here at Willow. Students will be recognized as fruit and veggie superstars for eating a fruit and or vegetable with their lunch each day during the month of March. Fruits and vegetables will be available to all students each day free of charge. Our kindergarten classes learned about famous American symbols and took a virtual field trip to the Statue of Liberty. Our fourth graders traveled to Black Rock to explore and study pine cones and make band students have selected a piece that they have performed in the virtual instrumental recital. Happy spring. And finally, good news from Cornwall Elementary School. This past month at Cornwall Elementary School, we have kept busy celebrating some very fun events. Our PTO hosted an exciting Dr. Seuss Spirit Week. Students dressed up as their favorite Dr. Seuss characters, dressed in their crazy hats and socks, and completed fun activities involving some of their classic tales of Dr. Seuss. Ms. Correa, the elementary interrogation technology teacher, even visited several classrooms to conduct Ozobot and coding Dr. Seuss activities. Mrs. Noonan, one of our fourth grade teachers, recently transformed her classroom into the world of Super Mario Brothers. The students participated in a Mario Kart reading relay race, worked in groups to use close reading strategies to identify the text structure of increasingly difficult passages, and use their division skills and coding skills to participate in a digital escape room. The children were engaged in difficult content while having a blast. In Mrs. Connolly's third grade classroom, the students explored space. They figured out if they would grow in space and did push-ups on the moon. And Mrs. McHale's virtual third grade class had a lot of fun learning about fossils and even made a few of their own. We also celebrated the 100th day of school this month at Cornwall Elementary School. The halls and classrooms were decorated and activities were planned around the theme of 100 days in school. Mrs. Aguilar's kindergarten students officially commemorated the 100th day of school by regrouping their place value chart to the 100s column. They also wrote about what they would buy with $100 and completed a 100th day search and count activity. In the upcoming weeks, our students and staff members will be going on spring break. Once we return, we are looking forward to hosting several fun activities planned by our PTO. And now, I'll turn to Josh.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm jealous of the push-ups on the moon. I aspired to that one day. But starting with good news from the middle school. So in March, students at CCMS have celebrated our Diversity with Foreign Language Week. Students had the opportunity to celebrate their heritage and the many languages our students and families speak. The LOTE department has also posted contests and trivia. Grades 7 and 8 SAC organized March Against Hunger. Homerooms competed against each other to collect the most non-perishable goods. Our CCMS students were amazing as always and collected hundreds of pounds of food, which is truly impressive. So congrats to them. And on the high school level, it's been a busy month. So firstly, a few weeks ago, the Foreign Affairs Club competed in our regional academic World Quest competition for the Hudson Valley. I'm excited to say that one of our teams placed second in the region, securing our spot to compete in the national championship. This team included Anna Liba, Isabella Crow, Alex Raposo, and yours truly. And we're all excited to be competing on the national level in mid-April. Congrats again to my fellow teammates and to the whole Foreign Affairs Club. And to those who have seen the document, we added a little victory picture there. Additionally, media journalism students in the high school have been very busy this year writing for our online magazine, The Dragon Post. If you're not familiar with this platform, the website is linked right on our report. It's a great place to stay updated on everything from what our alumni are up to, fake news, current events, retail being reimagined, and more. So we definitely encourage you to check that out. Moreover, fall sports have officially begun. Fall sports. This past Saturday, our football team defended their title by winning 52-6 against Clarkston. Also, the girls' volleyball team won against the Mount Academy. The scores were close, but the girls put up a good fight. Many teams were successful, but we want to especially highlight Jenna Prine and Ava DeFelice of the swim team. Jenna Prine entered New York State High School's top 10 times in the 50-yard freestyle, which is not an easy feat by any means. Furthermore, Ava DeFelice joined the top 20 of the official New York State High School divers. So congratulations to our peers on their success. That's truly pretty notable. This past Tuesday and Wednesday, the senior class celebrated their 100 days till graduation. Teachers and other faculty members cheered the seniors on as they walked out of the building. Not only were the seniors greeted by cheers and music, but they also received goodie bags once they exited the school. We're now in the final stretch with less than 100 days until we graduate, and Giselle and I are most certainly very excited for that. Finally, this is our first report since the high school and middle school have pivoted to the new 5 days of live instruction, and we are pleased to report that it is going well. The first day of this new instruction was very enjoyable for our students since we were able to see our classmates from other cohorts that we may not have been able to have not seen since March 2020. It's very nice to see our teachers 5 days a week again, and it's even nicer to interact with all our fellow peers. And then just finally, Giselle and I would like to thank the district for all your work in pivoting our instruction models. We are all aware that these changes are not easy to execute, but you've done so, and as much as allowed, on expeditious timelines that the student body is truly appreciative. We're very grateful. We're excited by Mr. Day's recent announcement, and we eagerly await the tentative return to the classroom for 5 days a week. So thank you, everyone.
Josh and Giselle, thank you so very much, both of you. It's such, to me personally, it's so, I don't have children in the schools. And so to hear all the things that are going on and to be able to read them ahead of time is outstanding. So thank you for the joy and the information that you both bring to this board. And I know that both of you have a million things on your plate for tonight and the rest of the week. And so we thank you for making time to be with us tonight. And you are definitely officially excused from the rest of the meeting. But with our sincere gratitude for all that you do and all that both of you bring to the table every time you're with us. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your night, even though I know you're going to be doing schoolwork and studying, but just keep plugging away. And thank you both so very much.
Likewise. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night.
So much.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we're up to committee reports. Anybody, Larry, you want to start?
Oh, sure. Two quick reports. The policy committee, we'll get into it a little further on in the agenda. But at our last meeting, we plowed through 30 policies, and I think we got most of them right. And we'll present them later. Facilities, we're still waiting on the corrections from the architect. So, Harvey, have you heard anything?
I received word today after I inquired, where they might be, that they will be dropping them off within the next day or two.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, Brendan, any updates for us on your committees? Brendan, unmute yourself.
I was just miming. For communication, I will push out a message on our Facebook page for this week. I want to get ahead of our forum in April, so to have questions be submitted in advance. So I know once we hit the break, everyone's going to forget about that stuff. So if anyone's listening, they can expect that on our Facebook page again by the end of the week.
Okay, thank you. Any other committees have anything to update us on? Okay, moving on to our superintendent's update. Terry?
Thank you, Nancy. So it's been a busy couple of weeks. The highlight has to be celebrating our seniors and the planning that is taking place to round out this year for them. So we celebrated 100 days to graduation. Hopefully you saw some of the pictures on Twitter and Facebook. It was just great to join them for that celebration. We've also been meeting with, there's some amazing high school advisors for the senior class, highly involved, really doing everything that they can to make this a memorable end of year for our seniors, along with some dedicated parents, teachers, and of course the students themselves. So a lot of information to come. I ask for everyone's patience. Had the pleasure of speaking with some students today, and the most important question that we always have to ask is, what do they want? Not do what do we want as administrators for their celebrations, not what anyone else wants, but really hearing from our students what their ideas are for some traditional events that round out the year. So we're going to continue to plan with everyone involved to make this as special as possible for our seniors. It was great to see the CCTA letter. We're all, from district office to our classrooms to our, the vast majority of our parents, folks want our kids in school. So it's great to hear that support from CCTA leadership and teachers. Just want to make a few notes on some pieces that were in the letter because they could be a bit misleading. We have really, in my opinion, done a good job of sharing vaccine information with our staff. So there was, I believe at Mr. Cassetti's building, there was a staff member who got wind of a way to get up on Orange County lists. Even before I found out, Mr. Cassetti reached out and said, can we share this? We said, absolutely. Before we know it, all 5 buildings shared a list that you could get on Steve Newhouse's list and Dr. Gelman's list to get the vaccine. A few weeks later, BOCES contacted all superintendents and said, send out an email if you have any staff members who need a vaccine and are interested or having trouble getting it. Send us their names. We sent that out to all staff, principals and directors. We compiled names and sent that to BOCES, and then that was sent to Orange County Department of Health. I tried it out personally and signed up to see what would happen, and I've been receiving emails saying there's a vaccine dose available on Thursday. Here's the location. Sign up if you need it. So we didn't leave it at that. We've now sent out 2 surveys to our staff. Unfortunately, they have to be voluntary. I'd rather some specific information on staff, but right now it has to stay in the voluntary range. And over 200 responses. Nearly 85% have already either gotten their first dose, gotten both doses, or scheduled for a dose of the vaccine. So something's working where our staff are getting the information that they need. And if anyone has any difficulties, contact your principal, and we'd be more than happy to help. Then with regards to our ongoing efforts with PPE, Walter has PPE galore at the warehouse. Something I've been most impressed with Walter. I've yet to contact him with a need at a school building and not have him personally walk it over to either the building or the classroom if they're ever in need of anything. So luckily we're a small community, so he's able to get around quickly. So again, we've been really able to provide that PPE on demand. Just as a reminder, if you want to look in our reopening plan, PPE consists of face coverings, gowns, and gloves. So we've really ramped up our supply of that. And then there's been other requests for additional PPE. So we also have purchased and stated to folks that have requested it that we can provide face shields as well, which is heavily used in our medical profession and beyond for additional protection. So we continue to offer our staff those protections as we move forward. So finally, just want to state that we're actively planning for in-person instruction 5 days a week for our elementary school starting on August 12th. I'm sorry, August 12th, I'm already on vacation mode. April 12th for our elementary students, and a tentative date of April 26th for our middle and high school. There's a lot of planning that still needs to take place. Things like the cafeteria are still a tough nut to crack. And then if this were the weekend of April 11th, and I was receiving the reports that I received today of all these positive cases, we would not be going 5 days in person. I'm not going to apologize for that. It's safety of our staff and our students and our families continues to be our #1 priority. So as we head into warm weather, spring break, just remember we need our community's overall support to continue the great work that we've done all year long. Let's not mess it up now. But right now, if we continue this kind of data that we've received this past weekend, our pivot to in-person instruction would be significantly hindered. So let's all come together and do what's right for our students and their learning, and we'll all get through this together. So that's all I have for tonight.
Okay, thank you, Terry. My update's rather brief. I made a call this past week, actually a little bit more than a week ago, to Dr. Zucker's office. He's the health commissioner for the state of New York. That was quite an eye-opener. And I followed up after my phone conversation with them, which I will tell you about in a second. I followed up with Senator Skoufis's head of staff, Carlos Valley, and just let him know about my conversation with Zucker's office, which was very concerning. If you ever want to laugh, call his office, Zucker's office. So the first person I spoke to didn't know anything. I was inquiring if there was going to be an update coming out. That was my only question I was asking. So he didn't know anything. He transferred me to a second person. Second person didn't know anything. Just even if Dr. Zucker was going to give a press conference or something. Okay. So we know that on February 25th, he said publicly at a press conference that there was going to be an update coming out the following week, and we still haven't heard anything. So then the second person gave me a number to call. And when I called it, it was the COVID-19 hotline. So I stayed on there, pressed whatever numbers I had to press. I got to talk to a real person. Everybody was very nice. I was very nice. I thanked them. But person number 3 suggested that I speak to a principal to find out information. And I explained that the principal wouldn't be one making the decision. She then said, well, maybe you could speak to a superintendent. And then I said, well, and I really did say that I was on the school board. And then I said, well, I am the president of the school board. I kind of know what's going on. We were looking to see if there was going to be an update. And she just very nicely didn't have anything to offer. She, maybe find out what other states are doing. I don't know. So that was a little concerning to me. I thanked her for her time, and that was it on that phone conversation. I emailed the synopsis of that to Carlos Valley again, who is Senator Skoufis's head of staff. And I know him from my work with the fire department, and he's been very responsive. And I know Senator Skoufis they're all very busy doing things. He said he'll certainly forward it to James. They're still pushing every day to get updated guidance. I don't have anything to share at this time, but rest assured we are doing everything we can. So that's, that was from them. And then the other thing, and I'm not sure if I pass this on to the board, I think I might have. I heard back from the New York State School Boards Association, which was wonderful, from John Redmond, who is our regional coordinator for Region 9, our area down here. The statement of NYSBA's executive director, Robert Schneider, on CDC school guidelines. Today's announcement by the Centers for Disease Control, as well as a similar announcement earlier this week by the World Health Organization, that 3 feet of separation between students and classrooms is sufficient to ensure their safety, rather than the previous guidance of 6 feet, offers greater flexibility for school districts to accommodate parents who want to see their children back in school. The new CDC guidance, if adopted by New York State, would essentially double the number of students that could learn together in a single classroom and reduce their reliance on remote learning. The problem is the State Department of Health guidance still calls for 6 feet in the absence of physical barriers in the classroom. As a result, school districts are getting mixed messages from our county, state, and national health officials, causing confusion among school districts and educators over what they need to do to open safely. Without clear action from the state, this confusion will continue, and there will still be a patchwork of different distancing requirements from county to county. NYSBA urges Governor Cuomo and the State Health Department to consider adopting the 3-foot guidance in New York, or explain why they believe scientific evidence does not support such a change. We have full confidence in our schools, which have proven they can keep children and staff safe in accordance with science. So that was very reassuring to me to find out that the New York State School Boards Association is taking up the charge for this as well, and they have quite quite a big advocacy movement that they do on our behalf. So I was very pleased to get that as well. And that is all that I have for my update. Did anybody have any questions for Terry, or we're good to move on to the consent agenda? Okay.
If I could just ask one, and this may be for you, Nancy, too, and just
Okay.
or for anybody really that can respond. But what is our status right now with regard to the 3 feet rule? I mean, or the 3 feet recommendation. I mean, how much leeway does that offer us? How much are we taking because of that? I mean, it just seems at this point that I know New York City seems like they are following the CDC 3-foot rule, and it just seems like everyone is more or less taking Governor Cuomo's public statements as the spirit of the law, which is to say every district can kind of do what they want, even if he doesn't update his guidance. I'm just curious, what our collective thinking is on that.
Terry, yeah, I'll defer to you. I know what my opinion is, but
Yeah, we're moving forward with planning around 3 feet. It is absolutely nauseating that everyone has updated guidance except for New York State since July. Things have changed dramatically. The national organization has used research-based to move forward with 3 feet. If we were to wait for New York, we'd be sitting at the stage of graduation wondering when we're going to hear an update. So we're moving forward with 3 feet. We believe that the pressure is going to be immense if our community directs pressure where needed. Again, the decision makers on this are New York State Department of Health. So if there's anything that we need right now, it's just for New York State to adopt the CDC guidelines. There's also county executives and commissioners of health who are writing letters saying, we support the 3 feet. Here's how we're going to support the school district to make this happen. Unfortunately, ours have not followed suit.
Thanks, Terry.
okay. All right, thank you. So we're going to move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda permits the Board of Education to make effective use of its time by adopting a single motion to cover those relatively routine matters which are included. We have items 2 through 7. Does anybody wish to pull any item out from the consent agenda?
Nancy, John here.
Hi, John.
I have 3 items, 2, 5, and 7 that I'd like to be pulled. And if we could we regroup 2 and I believe 7 together when we
Okay, so
for
2 is
discussion?
the recommended actions for the month. You want that pulled out?
Yeah, specifically the transfer report.
The budget transfer schedule? So item number 2 is recommended actions, which also includes approval of minutes, the treasurer's reports, APPR, revenue status, budget transfer, internal auditors, and then the funds, the 3 funds. There's one item that you wish to pull out from there?
Correct, the transfer approval.
The budget transfer schedule report,
Yes.
item number 5 under that. So then 2 we're going to pull out, okay. And then which other ones, John?
Number 5
Mm-hmm. And number 7?
and number 7.
Okay. So that leaves 3, 4, and 6. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it is recommended the Board of Education approve the following consent agenda items as submitted by the superintendent of schools. Items 2, 4, and 6. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Second.
Okay,
Nancy, it's
Yes.
3, 4, and 6.
did I, oh, I'm sorry, what did I say?
You said 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wrote it down and I said it wrong. Thank you. 3, 4, and 6. Because then we pulled out 2, 5, and 7. Thank you. Okay. All right, roll call. Louis,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Teresa,
Aye.
Brendan,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Margaret,
Aye.
and myself. Aye. Thank you. Motion carried. And Nina is experiencing a little delay from work and will hopefully be able to join us soon. Okay, so we have item 2. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does accept the following recommended actions, items 1 through 9. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And a second. Okay, discussion. John?
So thank you, Nancy. On the report itself, the transfer report, there is an item that talks about the relocation of funds for special education settlement.
Okay.
It appears that the monies for that are coming out of a contractual resource room.
Well, however, I'll defer to you to explain that, please.
And that's my question. Could I get some more visibility and color as it pertains to where the money's coming from in order to address the new tuition requirement?
Sure. So as you know, the settlement, the funds themselves are a result of a settlement. That is obviously something that is not typically budgeted for. So in terms of where the funds come from, we have to assess the budget and see where there might be some extra that would not necessarily be needed this year. And that's what is reflected in terms of that account.
So that account, contractual resource rooms, what specifically is that?
Those
When
are-
I think of contracts, I think you're paying a contract, right? So there's something I'm missing.
Okay, those are services that those are services that we pay for any or all of our students that are have an IEP. It could be OT, PT, it could be any of those services that we cannot provide in-house. So we have to go outside to a vendor.
So if I understand, there were items that we budgeted for that we anticipate not having to expend the funds for.
That is correct.
Okay, great. Thanks, Harvey.
And just a follow-up, Harvey, if that money isn't spent in this way, right, and it's excess, let's just say, where would that money go then at the end of the year?
That money would be part of the overall surplus that the budget would provide. And that's where at the end of the year, we always talk about where do we put more money in reserves or put it to the to next year, et cetera.
So it would go into one of those buckets or part
Correct.
in some buckets, right?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good.
So to piggyback on what Brendan said, something that's been kind of scrambling around in my brain is the use of reserves. And I think the district has been very successful and prudent in terms of how it's allocated actually these unassigned fund balances to actual specific possibilities of the future. One of those areas that I think would be useful to think about as well as get more information on is on the legal risk side, because legal risk is.
John, I'm going to just interrupt you, okay? We have a motion on the floor, and I don't believe that this conversation has to do with the motion that's on the floor, if you're okay with that.
Well, Nancy, I appreciate the need to move forward, but I just wanted to lay the seed for the notion of the use of funds. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, all those in favor? Louis? Matt?
Aye, sorry.
That's okay. Larry?
Aye.
Teresa?
Aye.
Brendan?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Margaret?
Aye.
And myself. Aye, thank you. Okay, item number 5.
Nancy, I'm sorry, just to interject there, just as a piggyback, not any discussion at all. We're going to be speaking about the budget a little later on in this.
Yeah,
meeting. And I think that would also be a good time for John to bring up any questions about, because I'm concerned about reserves also. And I
Okay.
know you've been doing a great job. So I think that's just an area where we can discuss that if Harvey, has time.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 5, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools that the Board of Education does hereby approve the 3 contracts for special needs educational services for the 3 students listed between the Cornwall Central School District Receiving District and the Highland Falls Fort Montgomery Central School District Sending District for the 2021 school year. Do I have a motion?
So
So
move.
moved.
And
Second.
a second? Okay, so moved in a second. Discussion, John?
So, thank you, Nancy. My question involves the blanks of this contract. There's no dates. So my question is, are these kids from this other district currently in the Cornwall School District receiving services? Or is this going forward at some point in time when the document gets executed?
So these particular students are actually enrolled in our school district. In accordance with board policy, we do take other district students on a tuition basis where there is room. And that's what we've been doing actually for quite some time, many years now, with Highland Falls.
So just to follow up then, this contract is catching up with the reality on the ground?
No, it's an annual contract for this year, for the 2021 school year.
But the kids have, I would think that an executed contract would occur at the beginning of the year, not 100 days from the end.
Typically, it occurs closer to the beginning of the year with COVID, as well as the fact that we want to make sure that they're actually going to be attending. The tuition and related services that we get reimbursed for or that we charge for are based on their attendance. So we wanted to make sure that there was an actual solid program that they could actually participate in.
And they've been participating this year, day one, it sounds like, right?
Yes.
So the paperwork is finally catching up to the reality. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, Louis? Matt?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Teresa?
Aye.
Brendan?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Margaret?
Aye.
And myself. Aye, thank you. Motion carried. And number 7, transfer resolution. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education does hereby approve the following 2021 budget line transfers: transfer from instructional hardware, transfer to instructional equipment BOCES. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Move.
And second?
Second.
Okay, discussion, John?
So we're moving funds from our district to BOCES. Could we get better clarity on what that's about, please?
Sure. So what happens is every year we budget accordingly for hardware, technology hardware. We don't necessarily always know where we're going to be purchasing it from. Are we going to be doing it through a BOCES, COSER, or are we going to be buying it directly from a particular vendor? In this particular case, we're buying a variety of computer equipment directly through BOCES. Now, we have to move the money because the money was originally budgeted for in the non-BOCES line. And it's important to move it so that we can actually purchase it. And by doing so, we also maximize getting BOCES 8 on it.
Great. So the funds are for our use. We're just using the BOCES Costco saving method of purchasing the equipment.
Essentially, yes. I mean, the bottom line is that the BOCES line is expenditures that we purchase through BOCES.
Right.
The non-BOCES line is the non-BOCES purchase.
Great. Thanks for clarifying, Harvey.
What is the aid we get on that, Harvey?
It depends on what we, there's all these COSERs, as you might
Yeah.
recall. With regards to the hardware, I believe the last I looked, it was about 76%.
That's great. Yeah, that's terrific. Thank you.
Okay. Roll call, all those in favor, Louis?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Teresa?
Aye.
Brendan?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Margaret?
Aye.
And myself. Aye, thank you. Motion carried. Okay, now we're up to new business non-consent agenda items. We have quite a lot of policies. Larry, you want to explain first, or you want me to kind of go through the motions first?
Well, I guess protocol, we need a motion in order
Oh,
to do the
gotcha.
explanation.
All right, and then I'll have you go through the explanation. So
Sure.
we have items 1 through 22. I would like to take it as per document. These are adoption of existing. Oh, the first one is a new policy, which Larry will explain a little bit about why that has to be up there in case anybody missed that one. The rest of them are existing policies. So there's items 1 through 22, as in with the consent agenda when we're doing so many things as per document. Is there anyone that wishes to pull out an item?
Nancy, I would.
Louis?
I'd like to pull out number 4, policy
Okay.
230, please.
Okay, number 4. Okay. All right, so we have items 1 through 3 and 5 through 22. I think I got that right. Do I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Larry,
All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the policy committee. This was not an easy task. The first policy we had mentioned at the last board meeting just came down from the state that we have to have this in place. I think it's by the end of the week. We don't have a choice. This is a legal requirement one. So that is one I'm definitely recommending that we waive the second reading on. And the rest of them, because there were no changes that the policy committee came up with after being reviewed by administration and the committee, I'm also recommending that we waive the second reading on those.
okay. Okay, thank you. All right, so we have items 1 through 3 and 5 through 22. I'm going to do roll call. All those in favor, Louis,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Teresa,
Aye.
Brendan,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Margaret,
Aye.
and myself. Aye, okay. So items 1 through 3, 5 to 22 carried, and so Louis, you asked us to pull out item 4. So
I
we
did,
will,
Nancy. Thank you. So what I noticed in there, Nancy, is specifically paragraph number 4.
Mhm.
It's spoken, that same sentence is spoken about in paragraph number 2. I think we could probably omit that paragraph to make it a little simpler and streamlined.
Okay,
Following that, paragraph 5 seems to be a little unclear to me, with specifically the word presentations. I interpret presentations as akin to, oh my goodness, what was the lady's name who did the lacrosse presentation a few years back? We were at Lee. She asked for an agenda item and it was granted, and she presented to the board. I kind of interpret that as a presentation, and perhaps you use a little different wording on there. I recommend we pull that back, and I'm happy to throw a stab at a reconstruction, and it can be taken to the committee for approval or further smithing. I'm certainly okay with that.
Larry?
Yeah, that's fine. I can take care of that, and I'll submit it to the committee and see if they have anything. We can do a first reading next month, at the next meeting then.
Okay,
My
so we're
apologies.
gonna,
The committee, they did catch the fourth paragraph. I just did not omit it. So the eagle eyes of the committee were on that. Thank you, Louis, for catching that as well.
okay, so we're gonna pull number 4 completely, and it will come back to the board at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Correct, Larry? Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
If anyone else has any other comments on that policy, if you could shoot them to me, as long as I'm reworking it, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you to the whole committee. We'll get up to the rest of them now. Now we've got the ones for the first readings, items 23 through 28, the first readings. Does anyone wish to pull out any item 23 through 28? This is only the first reading. Okay, do I have a
Nancy,
motion?
I'm sorry, Nancy, I keep trying to find my mute button. If we could pull 23 and 28, please.
And
I'm sorry. I say 28. We don't need to waste motion on 28. There's a bracket at the very end of the first paragraph. You probably want to just take that out as a semantics. We don't have to discuss it. But 23 indeed, please.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to do items 24 through 28. First readings. Do I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second,
Okay, all those in favor, Louis,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Larry,
aye.
Teresa,
Aye.
Brendan,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Margaret,
Aye.
and myself. Aye, thank you. Motion carried for items 24 through 28. Item 23, Louis?
Yes, item number 23, policy 0320, evaluation of the superintendent. At the very end of the policy, it says the procedures the board uses for evaluating the superintendent shall be filed with the district office and available for review by any individual no later than September 10 of each year. We have super eval dates in there that this certainly is redundant for. It carries for. There are earlier dates. Perhaps we want to say in that sentence that we use super eval, and that's part of our evaluation vehicle. I think the date covers it. The date's redundant. I think our date is the 27th this year. You wouldn't want to change the date on a policy year after year, but perhaps in this policy, it may want to reflect that we do use super eval as the vehicle for the evaluations. I'm not hung on it, but I propose it to the board. That's all.
Larry, you want to take this one back to your
No,
policy?
we don't have to, since it's the first reading, we
Yeah.
can agree on that change
Okay,
now. And then when it comes back for the second reading, we can see if in fact it has made that change.
okay. Any other discussion on that one? Okay. All those in favor, Louis,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Teresa,
Aye.
Brendan,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Margaret,
Aye.
and myself. Aye, thank you. Motion carried. Okay, number 29, BOCES Board of Ed candidate resolution. Whereas there are 2 3-year term vacancies on the Board of Cooperative Education Services to be filled at the annual election to be held April 22nd. And whereas the Board of Trustees of each Board of Education, each component school district may cast 1 vote for each vacancy be filled, therefore be resolved that the Cornwall Central School District Board of Education does hereby cast 1 separate vote for each of the following 2 candidates. Jean Pavek from Minnesink Valley and Michael Bello from Port Jervis. Do I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Aye.
Second,
Second. Okay, just any discussion? Okay, roll call. Louis,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Larry,
aye.
Teresa,
Aye.
Brendan,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Margaret,
Aye.
and myself. Aye, thank you. Motion carried. Item number 30, non-tenure track positions and appointments resolution. It is hereby resolved that upon recommendation of the superintendent, in order to address the evolving instructional needs of the district as it moves from the existing hybrid model of instruction to full daily student attendance, the following actions are approved. I'm going to take the rest as per document. Do I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on this? Okay, roll call. Louis,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Teresa,
Aye.
Brendan,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Margaret,
Aye.
and myself. Aye, thank you. Motion carried. Okay, Harvey, it's time for your budget presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Allow me to share my screen. Okay. So tonight, we're going to continue our path to an approved budget. And the first thing we want to talk about are the open items that we were still looking for at our last meeting 2 weeks ago. what I can tell you is that as of right now, we've really have not received anything of significance since the 2 weeks ago, with the exception of we do have a teacher retirement that was approved before. And again, we don't reflect that until it's actually approved and you know, in the minutes. So what we're looking for still is we do have very few COSA rates, which we anticipate getting any day now. And staff retirements, again, we expect, if they're going to happen, we expect to have them before the next meeting, which will be good. The annual reviews ongoing, as I mentioned, we actually have two big ones this week, which will be very telling budgetarily. The state aid figures still in flux. I'm going to be talking about them in a minute. And the again, the determination of the final tax cap remains open. So let's talk about the state aid picture. There's a lot of information out there, but I can tell you that despite all the discussion up in Albany, there is still nothing finalized. About 2 weekends ago, the Senate and the Assembly did introduce their priorities. Again, it's just their priorities. It's really where they're headed with respect to negotiations with the governor. But I will tell you that what they are looking for and what their priorities are very favorable for school districts. So there's three key big ones here. The first one is they are looking to increase foundation aid by $1 billion. What I can tell you is that foundation aid for quite some time has been frozen. So we have not gotten any, say, from last year to this year for an existence. They're looking for a minimum of 2%. To put some numbers to that, our foundation aid is $12 million. So that would give us an additional $240,000. That would be extremely helpful. The next one, they are rejecting the governor's use of the December stimulus money that was given to the state. The governor supplanted state aid instead of supplementing it. What that basically means is that he cut out what the state contributes and backfilled it with the federal money. There was no new money to us. So they are rejecting that use of that money, which would be extremely helpful. And lastly, they are looking to temporarily increase the unassigned fund balance limit, which is currently at 4%. Okay. Now, as noted there at the bottom of the page, this is a big one. Congress recently approved and the president signed into act the American Rescue Plan. This is the almost $2 trillion relief package for the United States. And included in that package is additional funding for schools. Despite what people have read in the papers, that information is coming largely from Senator Schumer's office. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm not saying it's right. The point being is that that money flows to the state, and then the state, as part of their budget process, determines specifically what we will get, from that money. So the good news is, there's money allocated. The bad news is we just don't have a definitive answer just yet. What I can tell you is that if you saw in the paper, we were slated to get about $1 million. Again, I don't know. No one knows how accurate those numbers are. So, but it's good news. Okay, it's not about cuts. It's about supplementing what we get. So as I mentioned, there's been no changes. The numbers stay the same. We're still at about 122,000 surplus over what we're anticipate getting in terms of revenue right now. One thing I want to touch on, and we usually leave this for toward the end, not that we're that far from there, but I want to talk about the contingent budget. And the reason I say that is because there has been some chatter out there about what happens if the budget goes down, what happens if people, don't vote for it. So let's just talk about how you get to a contingent budget. We have our vote scheduled for May 18th. If for any reason that vote gets voted down, the board has an option. They can immediately go to a contingent budget, or they can put up a second vote. Okay. If they do hold a second budget, it could be the same budget, It could be less, or it even can be more. If that gets voted down the second time, the board has no choice, but they must, by regulation, go to an adopted budget. I'm sorry, to a contingent budget. Under a contingent budget, the key ramifications of that is that our tax levy cannot have any increase. So what we're really saying is whatever our tax levy is this year, that is our tax levy next year. And under that scenario, we would have to reduce the budget just short of $1 million. Pretty significant. Now, to put some close on this, to give you an idea of what that would actually mean, and again, these are strictly examples because I just want everybody to understand what the implications are. Our entire interscholastic athletic program is about $1 million in and of itself, just by itself. All the extracurricular clubs and activities, K-12, about $375,000. Our kindergarten program, each classroom has a teaching assistant to assist the teacher. We have 9 classrooms. If we didn't have all of those 9 teaching assistants, that would only save $421,000. 9 teachers, that is the equivalent of what that reduction comes to. We would have to reduce the teacher force by 9 teachers as a possibility. And lastly, the high school summer school program, okay? This is a safety net to help a certain number of students get over that finish line. It's critical, it's important. That program is only $74,000. So again, these are not what would be cut specifically. They're just here to give you an order of magnitude of what types of things we'd be looking at and what they cost. Lastly, I want to talk about the budget vote and the Board of Ed election. As you, like myself, we have not heard very much on this with respect to what they did last year. We are still waiting on guidance. We don't know what it's going to look like this year. We're hearing a lot of chatter, and what we're hearing are these 2 bullet points here. What we're hearing is that in-person voting will be allowed, obviously with PPE accommodations, masks, gloves, shields, etc. We're also hearing that for those individuals who do not want to vote in person, that the absentee ballot, the application, will have a reason being COVID. So if you are fearful to go to the vote because of COVID, you will have the ability to make that election and you could vote by absentee ballot. Again, this is what we're hearing. We're hearing this is what's being worked through the system. There's no executive order. There's nothing yet on it, but we will be prepared to handle it however it comes down to light. And lastly, we have 2 meetings left before the board actually has to adopt the budget. I do anticipate at the next one having the lion's share of all the open items resolved. And I think that'll give us ample time to still discuss things on the 22nd for whatever else might warrant that. Any questions?
When you discuss, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Teresa.
Okay, when you mentioned, just to backtrack, Harvey, as far as the contingency budget, just to, I guess to be clear with myself and also anybody listening, when you discuss a contingency budget, the tax levy must reflect a 0% increase, but in other words, if let's just arbitrarily say, okay, we had a 1% increase in 2019-20.
Okay.
We couldn't increase over that increase. In other words, just clarify that to me.
Sure. So I'm going to make this up. If our tax levy for this year is $50 million, it has to stay at $50 million for next year.
Okay. Okay.
Whatever it's pegged at right now would be what it would have to be next year.
Okay. So basically it's the exact same
Correct.
budget amount. Okay. All right. And again, that could still be an increase. It's still an increase.
No. Again,
Even with equalization wouldn't change anything with that?
No, this has nothing to do with the assessments or the equalization. The pot
This is just-
itself, think of it like this, the pot has to stay the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just couldn't remember if I had that right. Thank you very much.
Sure.
So Harvey, this is obviously good news, better news than we thought we'd probably be getting as of 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I just want to be sure, I'm sure everyone on the district side has been thinking about this, but just as we allocate our time at, with the month remaining, let's say, the budget that's adopted April 1st or thereabout at the state level includes that 2% increase in foundation aid. So we get that roughly $240,000 extra. It would be nice to know, or at least anticipate how that could open up our options from a programming standpoint on the operating budget. And I feel like that's not the right term, but on our programming budget, I guess. And so, I know we've been talking about things over the last couple of weeks, and we've been going at it from the perspective of, will we have enough money for one of these things or two of these things? And, if suddenly our options open up, this is not a specific ask for you to do anything now. It's more to get this thought out there for all of us, really, not just on the administration side. But I think we will want to spend that meeting and then the meeting after in April at the adoption to really consider what, if, again, that this is still all a big if that money comes through, what the best way to allocate that would be. Because I personally have an eye on anticipating what gaps there might be next year, achievement gaps for students coming off of what has been a very difficult year. So it could just be something for us to consider, should we get a very favorable finalized budget at the state level.
So Brendan, let me just mention a couple things here with respect to, let me just go back to that page. With respect to the American Rescue Plan, that's the one that I said, the papers say we're going to get about $1 million. 20% of that has to be earmarked for what they call learning loss. Okay. And it doesn't have to necessarily be used this year. It could be used next year as well. So that's one thing. The second thing is we have to be extremely conscious of the fact that this money from the American Rescue Plan is a one-time shot. Okay, so if the board was to say, I'm making this up, let's add all this program and all this staff, that would not be a wise decision because we would only be able to fund it for 1 year. Okay, that kind of money has to be strategically identified as to how we're going to use it moving forward in such a way that it helps us, much like you said, get through the peaks and valleys on a more even keel. But again, we can't do something that we're going to have to take away in a year or two.
That's really helpful context. Thank you, Harvey. It's like a grant that expires in 12 months.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's great. That added the context I was trying to in a much more effective way. So thank you for that.
So Harvey, John here, if you could just clarify that, is it grant-like that if you don't use it, it expires? Or is it money that would be deposited for our use, albeit some restrictions on how that money is actually used? And the reason I ask the question is, as soon as I heard about the possibility of that windfall $1 million gain, I immediately went to capital projects as a likely recipient of that, only because that would then allow us the ability to lever that money up for state funding as well. So could you clarify, is it grant-like, or is it actually going to, if it were to happen as currently described, and anything's possible going forward, I recognize that, is it more like a deposit of funds for us to figure out how to use it appropriately?
Okay, so keep in mind there's very little guidance out just yet.
No doubt.
We don't necessarily know if they're going to just give the money to the school districts and then you just have to indicate how you used it, or if you have to spend it first and then submit for reimbursement. So I do not, no one knows that yet. With regards to things like reserves and fund balance, you know, this third bullet point here where I mentioned that the Senate and the Assembly are looking to temporarily increase unassigned fund balance. I'm thinking perhaps that's because they know that a lot of districts might be a little more flush with some of this money, so that they're letting them keep it in their reserves or in their fund balance to use it for another date. As far as your take on using it for capital projects, absolutely. That's one of the one areas that would serve us very well. We have a big need. We don't have to depend on it for future use year in and year out. Add it to the reserve and take care of some of these needs.
So just to follow up, unlike that earmarked American Rescue Plan funds, the foundation aid increase of 2% would be something that would be in perpetuity or recurring as time goes on.
We don't know yet. My sense is yes. They could bump it up this year, and then it stays frozen again for who knows how long. You know, a lot of the money that the state's getting is from the federal government too. So they're not going to be seeing this on a recurring basis either.
Right. I think it would be tragic if the state were to deny the district these funds and use it for other purposes. But
I agree
that's
with
for
you.
another day.
If I can just toss in there, John, about if it goes into foundation aid, what I've learned with advocating with the NISBA representatives, foundation aid is like the holy grail of NISBA advocacy. And once something becomes foundation aid, they would lay themselves down on the train tracks to get it before it gets taken away. Not to say that it wouldn't happen, but my reading of that is if it's added to foundation aid, it is a political move, understanding that it'll probably stay there or be taken away with great effort.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, everybody. Harvey, anything you'd like to wrap up with?
No, I'm all good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Another excellent presentation. And so we are up to where we will have closing comments from the board. Margaret, how about we start with you tonight?
Okay. I wanted to thank everybody for all of your kind reaching out from my early exit last week. Things are getting back on track, which is a nice thing. I wanted to quickly say a couple of things. One, probably one of the biggest things that came out of the district over the last couple of weeks, which I thought was just wonderful, was the fourth grade virtual concert. The concert was outstanding. These fourth graders, you know, they're just starting. They've played the recorder in third grade, and now they're actually taking lessons to learn instruments. Talking from personal experience, you know, every instrument is tough when you're starting, but Connor and Isabella, who decided that they were going to try to play the oboe, is definitely one of the hardest instruments. I started it when I was in high school and gave up after about 2 years because it was just so hard. And to see those two playing those oboes, really impressive. I mean, just amazing. That speaks, I think, to the encouragement that they continue to get from the everybody who's involved in the music program. And I think that's a great thing. Foreign Affairs Club, congratulations. Way to go. Nationals in April. That's awesome. Jenna Prine and Ava DeFelice getting up there with the top 10 and the top 20 and swimming and diving in New York State. That's amazing. And there was something else I wanted to say. But I think that's it. Harvey, thank you very much for your wonderful presentation once again. It wouldn't be as easy to navigate all this stuff if we didn't have you and your great analogies and your buckets and all of your stuff to help people like me who are, you know, not in the world of finance to be able to navigate this stuff. So thank you very much. And thank you to everybody for all of your work today.
Thanks, Margaret. John?
Right on. So, great things are happening. As Terry mentioned, that pivot, I have to, as a parent and also as a board member observing, I have to tell you the difference in the mood of our students now by having a live instruction 5 days a week. It's like someone flipped the switch. And so I look forward to the next phase, which would be then moving into the 5-day in person, which, I have great confidence in Terry and his staff, Megan and the teachers to get it right. And I know that there's some concerns out there, but in the end, the students are going to benefit from it greatly. And we've gotten this far by faith. We've got this far by faith. We've got this far by luck. And we've also got this far by sheer good planning. So keep up the good work, and the best is yet to come. I want to do a shout out to Mr. Franza for his additional duty of being a videographer, I guess, and putting that recital that Margaret talked about, that 4th grade recital, by the way. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It was incredibly well done. The kids are talented. What great instrumentalists we have at a young age. When I think about what they're going to be like in high school, it just great things to come in the future. And lastly, to our seniors, 100 days to go. Please be safe. You're almost at the end. Safety first. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Brendan?
Thanks, Nancy. Yeah, first of all, thank you, Harvey, again, for a great presentation. It's always nice when the news comes in a little bit better than we initially anticipated. Thank you to generally to the administration, Terry, Megan, Harvey, Walter, I know has played an instrumental role in all of this. The planning continues, and we're putting points on the scoreboard, as they would say. So, and there's more to come. I know the last Friday was, I think, a shot in the arm for a lot of people that want to get the kids back in school, and seeing that the CDC took leadership is great, and I'm glad to hear that we're using that as our North Star moving forward. It's certainly where the science and just I think good reason is at this point. And I want to underscore something that Terry actually wrote today in, I guess it was the announcement of the positive cases. I don't have it in front of me, but it was basically a reminder that this will only be as successful as we continue to take this seriously. And I know that as certain things come back, we have to remember that normal is not going to come back one Monday in April, like where suddenly we can just do everything that we used to do. It's going to come back piecemeal, and we have to stay steadfast as a community. I know it's strange. I feel weird even saying that, because I'm certainly not a public health official, and I think these are things that we all know, but sometimes we could all use a reminder. So staying as strong on that front as we can will only help us to sustain the success moving forward. So thank you, Terry, for that reminder, and I hope everybody takes it to heart. And that's all for me.
Thanks, Brendan. Teresa?
Thank you, Harvey, for tonight's presentation. I'm feeling a little bit better from what I'm seeing as far as some of the more state aid and some consistency coming in. But then again, it's all politics, so we'll just sit back and wait and see how it is when the smoke clears. As far as to just piggyback on what Brendan was saying, I'm just concerned that everyone doesn't jump the gun also. We have the first, it's hard to believe it's been a year. It's a year, and it's just hard to believe. I remember thinking it would only be a couple of weeks. We'd all be back after Easter. And I hate to think we didn't learn from that, because as Terry had said earlier tonight, 7 students being COVID positive is a reminder that might have been a party, maybe not, may have been one get together, who knows? And with spring break coming up, I hope families, parents, and students think about, you want to get back to school, you want to get back in the classroom, please use good common sense and just don't do anything foolish. And it's hard not to. I want to just go and like do something foolish and just like hug a bunch of people and stuff. And I can't, and I'm not going to, and I hope people keep that in mind. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. Larry?
You
Larry?
mute?
Larry, you're on mute.
Had it off for a while. I've never had a chance to do this. Ditto. All right. I want to thank the high school report, when the high school student report, there's a picture in it, and there's the link is in the report itself. And that's very helpful, and I appreciate that. And if we can get that back to Josh, I think that I thank you, Josh. Also, just as an FYI, the Orange Ulster Board sent a letter of support for what we were doing, and that letter that we had put together to send out to Governor Cuomo. So I just want to let you know that the Orange Ulster BOCES board supported that. And one last thing, and going along with what some of the others have been saying, I am sure the seniors would love to see a real graduation. And the only way we're going to be able to pull that off is if everybody's careful. So, I just, keep your fingers crossed and your masks on. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Matt?
That was not fair, Larry, to steal my line. I really, there's not too much to add here. I mean, I echo what my colleagues have said. Obviously, it's always great to hear from Giselle and Josh. Congrats to all the students that were mentioned for all their various accomplishments. I think it's great. Terry, Megan, Harvey, everyone, you're doing an awesome job, and you're moving the dial, and it's really appreciated. Harvey, God bless you. Thanks again for the budget presentation tonight, and that's it for me.
Thanks, Matt. Nina, is there anything, I know that you joined us a little late, but I thank you for making the time to come and be with us. Is there anything you'd like to share with us tonight?
No, apologies for being late. I just would like to say it was so encouraging to see that CDC decision the other day, and I concur with everybody. It looks like we're going to be able to do more of what everybody has wanted to do for some time with their guidance at this point in time. And let's continue to be vigilant with all the protections that we've been shown, and I think we can do so much more. So thank you, and thank you to everybody that presented while I wasn't on the call.
Thank you so much, Nina. Louis?
Thanks, Nancy. Yes, Harvey, thank you as always for your presentation. It's always, good to walk this thing through, and hopefully, things get better with the state helping us out and freeing up some monies. Thank you. Thank you to Josh and Giselle. I appreciate their reports as always. Congratulations to Josh on that Foreign Affairs Club. That's pretty exciting for him. Good for him. Wish him all the best and his team. Additionally, I'd like to share my appreciation to the staff and administration for their continued efforts and creativity and approaches for our clubs and the different things that I know I see my kids doing online after school. I'm sure all the other kids are doing different things. For example, the Franca thing with that MP4 he sent out with the recital, that was great. But again, I think they deserve a little round of applause for all their creativity and figuring out how to get these different things off. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And I also am looking forward to the weeks to come and the change that's you can smell it. It's almost like spring breaks. You get a nice summer day and everybody wants to put their shorts on. Let's keep that evolution happening. We that change. Let's get that change going. But I would encourage everybody on the heels of Terry's letters to please stay safe and do remain vigilant. and be cautious. Don't take these summer days for granted, in that we can all have our picnics at the park and have our close bicycle rides. Certainly exercise your abilities, but do your best to stay safe so we can all have our kids back in school. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Louis. Thank you, Harvey. Again, another great presentation, and it is a moving target, so we just have to sit patiently and wait and see what happens. It's always so exciting to hear all the we know the good stuff that's going on, but to hear all this and the great news from the school district when Josh and Giselle reported to us is so much different than just reading it. And it's outstanding. And certainly, you know, a pat on the back for everyone involved in the district who gets also the news out to the social media pages and just gets the information out. It is outstanding, and it's so exciting to see everything that's going on. So all the great news for our scholars, our athletes, our clubs, the arts, the music, and everyone in between, because everyone has a part in making our schools what they are each and every day. And it's so nice to see that we are, despite what's going on and the adaptations we've had to make, that we are continuing along with some of the really great things that make this school district so special. Thank you to all the staff and administration. I say this every meeting. Every person is so important in all the stuff that's going on in this district. And we couldn't be where we are without every single one of you doing every single thing that you do. And as always, thank you to my board, and enjoy the sunshine. I am loving it. The chair is out back, and when I can, I'm sitting there. It's nice. So with that, I would like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I think I forgot to ask opposed through all my motions tonight. Anyway, motion carried. Thank you all so very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening and take care and be safe.
Take care, all. Be
Good night,
safe.
everybody.
Good night.
Stay safe, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.